Hey guys, it's Nick and Bobby from Bobby&Nick Productions, and we're going to be talking about this guy.
We're going through the top 10 best fights that are, this is our opinions of Naruto Part 1.
Part 1, because Part 1, in our opinion, is one of the best fighting animes. So we want to discuss what we feel are the best fights of the series. We're not counting Shippuden because Shippuden's too dragged out. It's pretty much finished, but maybe we'll talk about it in another video. But we thought this would be a really fun thing to discuss, talking about that guy. So, few rules. Our picks are by favoritism, but it doesn't factor too much in. We're talking about length, choreography, animation. Anything else?
No, that's it.
So, yeah, here we go.
Let's get started.
Yeah. Alright, so number 10. This is Naruto versus Sasuke on the hospital. So it's a pretty important fight. It starts off the whole Sasuke retrieval arc where Sasuke, being fed up with everything, just...
would you consider that he's like very jealous of Naruto at this point?
Oh, incredibly so.
Yeah.
He just doesn't care.
Yeah, it's a very big turning point for the series, I would say.
Yeah.
At least for Part 1.
Set the standards for it to get a lot darker.
Yeah.
It just, the whole Sasuke's drop. Sasuke always had an attitude issue, but now his attitude just bubbles to the surface, and he's just like taking out Naruto. And we almost get the collision of the Rasengan Chidori, but Kakashi just C-blocks it.
Yeah.
And the one complaint I have for this fight is just, I think the whole Sakura getting in the way thing. It's important to the story.
Yes.
But just her being there is not necessary. She just gets there for the sake of being there.
Yeah.
She's just whining, which is a very common theme, actually.
Yes, it is. Through Part 1 at least. Yeah, the choreography of the fight, though, taijutsu, is very good. And
that's one of the things we actually complain a lot about in Shippuden. Shippuden's a lot of just ninjutsu. And especially...
Some genjutsu.
Especially looking back in Part 1, we're going to get more into taijutsu later, is just, there's a lot more hand-to-hand. It feels like an actual martial arts anime. And that's just what makes it so good. And the animation doesn't have a lot of errors. They're pretty on point the whole time.
Yep.
Which, I can't say for all the fights that are on this list, but that one's definitely got it where it needs it. So, number 10 is Naruto vs. Sasuke Hospital. Would you like to talk about number 9?
So, number 9 that we have here is Naruto and Sasuke versus Orochimaru. This is during the second stage.
Forest of Death.
The Forest of Death stage of the Chunin Zero.
I, for one, absolutely love this fight.
Yes, it's very, very interesting.
One of the reasons being is we get to see Naruto use his nine-tailed power. And one of my favorite displays of it when he just used it for rage. And just seeing Naruto completely demolish a snake, something about it is just freaking awesome.
Yeah.
And the reason why we can't just have Naruto or Sasuke as separate fights is because them separate fighting him, that's what it mostly was, but if it were just the two fighting, it's not nearly as impressive to me.
Yeah, I have to agree. Them fighting separately would technically be better in terms of character development, but the fact that they're working as a team even though they kind of just hate each other.
And there's a part, this is one of my favorite parts of it, is where Naruto straight up socks Sasuke in the face saying, "You're not Sasuke, you're full of crap." Sasuke wouldn't be a coward and run off. And that truly shakes Sasuke to actually have one of his best fights while he's still a weak ninja. Fighting Orochimaru, which, here's why this fight isn't high on the list. The animation, if you watch Sasuke fight, is really, really wonky. I know we said we were ranking it by animation, and yes, the last fight had better animation, but there's something about this that makes it so big, and it even foreshadows to the Sasuke retrieval.
Yeah, it does.
Which is his curse mark. The only downside of this fight is that it leads to a whole lot of episodes of just them both being out of commission, because obviously Orochimaru beats them because they're kids, what are they going to do? So much. I'm trying to think of anything else that's really important about this fight.
One complaint I have to do with animation too is if you watch, like, so you have part of it where Sasuke's, didn't he throw a fireball at
his neck is just like, we'll show a picture of it when we upload this so you can see it.
You also see Orochimaru, just like his face is just like so like
that actually did just bother me the whole time. The face Orochimaru has on, I know it's a disguise, but it is so distracting.
Yeah, it is.
It is the most distracting thing ever. Like, so it's just really freaking creepy.
Yeah.
I mean, he's a creepy character. I mean, he's supposed to be creepy, so I get that. Yeah. So number 8 is
Kiba versus Sako.
Now, this is more his pick, so I'm going to let him discuss why he likes it so much.
So I decided to do this one just because I feel like Kiba was not totally developed as a character. This one was where he kind of grew a lot in part 1. Having Akamaru and him doing so many combo attacks against Sako, even though they were kind of just literally the underdogs.
Yeah, no, I have to agree with him because, we saw a lot of Kiba's team and Akamaru's teamwork when he fought Naruto, but of course he was kind of more of a stepping stone for Naruto, and we're going to get more into Naruto fights later.
Yeah.
But Kiba actually did really mature, and I have to say that Wolf Fang over Fang was one of the coolest things I have seen come out of the Sasuke Retrieval arc, which is, if you haven't been able to tell you, is one of my favorite arcs in the series. Yeah. But the animation's pretty good. I'd say the only reason why it's lower on this list is the length is ridiculous.
Yeah, they draw it out just a tad too far to make it into one of the higher top. Now, I would say for animation-wise, it's very good. I believe there's one instance though that kind of bugs me, which is Sako's second stage curse mark.
He looks like a Satanist.
That plus, like, if I believe there was one just one scene, I'll try to look it up, where he just looks off. Like his entire body just looks off.
Yeah, that's okay. All Naruto fights have faults in animation, but I know what you're talking about, and it does look just plain weird. But I think one of the reasons why Sakon is such an interesting character to fight is because he's 2 people.
Yeah.
It was a 2-on-1, 2-on-2 type of fight when Kiba was fighting him. But I gotta say, the actual person who really made this fight worth it for me was Kankuro coming in with the freaking Iron Maiden type death move, and I can never get over it. It's so cool. So that's number 8. Number 7?
Number 7, Choji versus Jirobe. Now, Nick chose this one.
Reason being, Choji, as Bobby said, Kiba, I feel Choji was greatly underdeveloped. Because if we go back to what actually my absolute favorite arc of part 1, which is the Chunin exams, Choji gets nothing. Like, he is just basically a fat joke the whole time. Would you say? Like, I mean, literally when they start the arc, he literally does say Akamaru is getting plumper and juicier when this arc starts. I shit you not. Go back to that episode where they first all meet. He's talking about eating Akamaru. I can't make this up.
Yeah, that's true. I kind of remember that too.
It's even in the manga. Like, he says, man, that dog would be great with some barbecue sauce. I'm sorry about the screen dimming. I don't care at this point. But Choji is basically a joke. He fights Dozu and instantly loses, but now we actually get to see his techniques and his fighting style in full use with this fight against Jirobe, which is Jirobe's kind of similar to him. He's a big muscle head. He uses rocks for everything. So I mean, there's not much development in Jirobe, but we see Choji's willing to stick up for his friend because he's always telling Shikamaru he's a genius. Just so you know, Shikamaru did not make it in this top 10. But we have his reasons for that. But Choji really stepped up. His expansion jutsu, I think, is incredibly interesting, actually.
It is a very
on point in this fight. I don't think there's a lot of mistakes because I've watched it pretty recently.
Yeah, there's not that many mistakes. Also, I want to point out one of my favorite moves in that fight was this. Didn't he use Spike Human Boulder?
Spiky Human Boulder, which was a great technique. It was actually more taijutsu than ninjutsu. He was because we both agree all ninja tools are basically taijutsu.
Yes. I agree.
Well, you could say, well, about the fans, I know it's probably going to come up. That's Shippuden. We're not talking about Shippuden.
No.
This is strictly part 1. But we believe, anything with ninja tools is a lot more taijutsu use. So Choji actually uses a lot of taijutsu. Even his ninjutsu is very heavily grounded in taijutsu, and that's why we love it so much. And the use of the butterfly bomb is not only symbolic to Choji growing into his own and becoming his own person, but it really shows that, hey, he's actually tough. He can actually fight. Where a lot of the Naruto characters don't get that until maybe Shippuden. And that's why that fight made it so high up.
Yep.
Going into number 6.
Yeah, number 6. We have Rock Lee versus Kimimaro. Now, this is the drunken fist.
We're not talking about the whole fight. The fight is good, but this is what we love, is the drunken part.
Yeah.
Let's just stay it out of the way. Let's get out of the way. Okay, Rock Lee drunk is one of the greatest things about the part 1 that I've ever seen.
It's a very interesting thing. One, because like, sure they had some like, I personally think it's funny just because they put the fact of drunken fist into a martial arts style of Rock Lee, because he is so heavy. He's all taijutsu.
For those of you who somehow don't know, and we'll talk about it later because he shows up a little later in the list. No spoilers right now. Rock Lee cannot use ninjutsu or genjutsu. He was born without being able to use it. So he was already told he couldn't really fight. So he's a taijutsu user, and he has a huge. He's just coming back from a huge injury, so he's supposed to take medicine. Little as he know, he took a bunch of sake with him.
Yeah.
And so he ends up fighting this beyond eerie bone guy who's known as Kimimaro. We love him, but he is scary as hell. And he just doesn't care. It's funny. He's just moving around. His moves are completely unpredictable.
Yeah.
And it's one of the most interesting things I think Rock Lee does, and it's a shame we don't see it again.
Yes, and also even though that like there's a lot of fast movement with his drunken fist. Correct me if I'm wrong.
Yeah.
That the animation is very fluid, very well done.
It doesn't fail. Like, normally when there's a fast character, and we've noticed this in some of the fights, the animation really just drops out of nowhere, and it's just weird. And we're probably going to show you a few animation faults because we got to be able to explain ourselves. But Rock Lee, it's a very fluid fight. He's funny. I think he falls asleep. I counted. I think it's like a number of 3 times. If I get a comment on that, please don't bite my head off. This is nostalgia. So I don't remember everything, but he falls asleep like 3 times, and he still keeps fighting.
Yep.
And he doesn't like get out of it until Kimaru's just like, I've had enough of this.
Mm-hmm.
It's hilarious, and then Gaara comes in and saves him, which is great symbolism because of what happened earlier in the series. I love the Sand Ninja to death, so I'm really glad they gave him screen time. But that's why that fight is at that part of the list. Rock Lee's a great character. Moving on.
To number 5, we have Kakashi versus Itachi.
Okay, I'm really excited about this because we're taking a little break from the whole Sasuke retrieval arc. Yeah, it has great fights, but if we put every single fight in the list on there, we wouldn't have enough fights, and it would be kind of boring to watch, I'm guessing.
Yeah.
So, let's talk about why we love Itachi in the first place.
Well, without spoilers though, that's kind of hard to say. I would say for the most part, I mean, at this point of the series, have we learned anything really about Itachi?
We just, he's shrouded in mystery. Like, I remember when I first watched this show, when I was a kid, just sitting in my bed, watching Naruto in the morning, I was just like, this is like the creepiest guy I've ever seen. He is downright scary.
Well, yeah, you have to admit, well, next to him, there's a fucking shark face.
There's a shark man, Kisame. He didn't make the top 10. He's a very heavy Shippuden fighter. We're not talking about Shippuden too much.
But yes, but for Itachi, he is very shrouded in mystery. He is very dark from what we can tell already. But the fact that we know that Kakashi is very strong.
This is just very to set the standard, because we think Kakashi is just this unbeatable ninja.
Yeah. But we see Itachi literally hit him with a genjutsu and make him fall to his knees.
He treats him like a child.
Yeah.
This fight is a little bit faster than some of the other fights, but I think that's also what makes it good because it's a fun fight and it's cool. And one of my favorite things is we even get to see Asuma and Kurenai.
Yeah, that's true. I was actually about to comment on that one too. That Kakashi's not alone yet. None of them can really do anything.
It sets the stage to see Jonin aren't particularly like we've thought to this point Jonin are basically can take care of everything, but for a Jonin to be treated like they're a Genin, it's almost frightening. It shows, wow, this is what ninja throughout the whole land of Naruto are like. Yeah. Like this isn't just a single village anymore. This is a whole world. There's so much more lore. Mm-hmm. And then it's also, this has a huge, the biggest part of this is that it introduced the Akatsuki.
Yes.
We haven't seen Akatsuki until we saw Itachi and Kisame.
Mm-hmm. That's true.
And as you know, if you've watched Naruto, the Akatsuki are the driving force of antagonism in Shippuden. But we're not talking about Shippuden, so that's enough of that.
Yeah. Okay, moving on. We've got number 4, which is Naruto versus Neji. Tuning exam.
I'm so excited. This is one of my favorite fights in the whole series. And I probably said about all of them, but this one takes the cake.
Yep.
I love the Chunin exams. And I remember when I was a kid, I hated Neji. Neji's moves were awesome, but he was such a dick! So if you guys have watched the Chunin exams, you know that Neji completely just hates the Hyuga's main branch, which is a whole other thing. It's a huge development of just his family being treated like crap. I mean,
well, without going too much into history, because honestly, history is boring. Not
that it's boring. It's more like this is not what the video's about.
Right. Going to the fight, having Neji be first going through and just wailing down on Hinata.
In a condescending way. The whole time.
And then to have to face Naruto and calling him such a weak...
Calling him a loser the whole time. He hasn't seen anything that Naruto's done besides fight Kiba, which is a great fight. It's not in the top 10, but it really displays Naruto's ability to learn moves. Because he just copied something Sasuke needed the Sharingan to copy. Naruto doesn't have Genkai. Keep that in mind. He did it all by himself. But that's not the fight we're talking about. Naruto takes on the best Genin of all. And he wins, obviously. But the fact that he just keeps coming, it shows his true drive and resolve.
Yeah. Now, there are... Using the Shadow Clones now going into the fight. Naruto just uses it to his advantage.
We've seen him use Shadow Clones before in great ways, but I think this is probably one of the best examples of it. Naruto doesn't have the Rasengan yet.
That's true.
So all he has is clones, and he can't use his summoning even though he just learned it.
Yes.
He learned summoning, and here's one of the things that makes this fight so great. The taijutsu is on point.
Yes, it is.
We see so much taijutsu techniques, because a lot of people don't think about it, but Neji is a high taijutsu user. He's not like Rock Lee, but because Neji can use ninjutsu if he felt like it.
Yes. Neji uses the taijutsu of the Gentle Fist.
And for those of you who don't know what the Gentle Fist is, we'll graze on it. It's basically a Hyuga technique that saps chakra.
Yep.
So every touch would take away a lot of your chakra. Naruto uses ninjutsu more than anything.
Yep, he does. And to having to fight someone that basically blocks chakra or even takes chakra is just a huge handicap for him. And the fact that he overcomes that is just very great. Especially
since Neji has been built up as one of the best ninja. And Naruto has always been told to be the worst. It shows a huge overstep, a huge hurdle for Naruto to jump over, and one of my favorite things about it is he literally forces the Nine-Tailed Fox to give him power.
Yes, I remember that, the Nine-Tailed Chakra Cloak.
Yeah, no, we're not talking about that cloak. That cloak is way later, and I have opinions about that we'll probably talk about in another video.
Yeah.
But this is just It's just pure raw power, and Naruto goes at him. And even at the end, it looks like he lost. And Naruto comes out using his shadow clones again, which what he was talking about, to uppercut Neji so hard he can't even move.
Okay, so I think we covered enough bases on them.
So, basically, I love that fight.
Yes. So, number 3. We
had to talk about this one for a little bit to actually figure it out. But it is the third
Hokage versus Orochimaru.
There's a few obvious reasons why this fight is so high on the list. It's the first time we see a Hokage fight.
Mm-hmm.
It is awesome, and Orochimaru is a great character. He's creepy as all hell. He is one of the most neutral villains we've ever met.
That's true.
Like, he's just there to just... I don't know if you guys have seen Soul Eater. Think of him as Professor Stein. That is literally what he is. That's his motive for living. He just wants to understand everything. And what makes this fight so cool is, yes, the third Hokage sacrificed himself. Sorry, I'm just going to give that away. But he fights with full understanding that he's probably going to die.
Yes.
And what was also really cool is, a lot of people forget this is the first time we see reanimation.
That is true.
They reanimated the first and second Hokage. What do you think of that, anyway? Putting them into the fight.
I feel like it was slightly necessary. One, just to like show that Orochimaru is not is willing to play any card, whether it's emotional, physical, or anything.
Orochimaru loves to play them.
Yeah, he just loves it.
He doesn't care if it's unfair to them. He will take any means necessary to win. And what's also cool is the first time we see the Reaper Death Seal.
Yes, that is true.
Which is revealed later. That's the whole reason Naruto has Kurama inside of him.
But also, with that, I have to say, reanimating them was not completely necessary.
No, and I think that's actually one of the reasons why it's not even higher on this list.
Yeah.
And it honestly, like, there's part of me that does think we could have put it lower. The length of this fight is insane. It's just, but it's such an important fight. It sets up the Tsunade Search arc. It sets up for Naruto to learn the Rasengan. It sets up for just a whole new era. With the third Hokage's death, that is the only one of the biggest reasons is on this list. It's a great fight, but it sets up for a whole new era.
Yep.
It sets up for the need for Tsunade.
Now, talking about the fight in general, not just how it leads to stuff. The ninjutsu that the third Hokage uses is what was the staff?
Oh, I don't remember, man.
The staff that he uses.
The Monkey
King. Monkey King. Everything he uses is honestly flawless, like animation-wise and tactical-wise. I love it. He uses the Shadow Shuriken Jutsu,
which is awesome.
Yes.
He's giant shuriken.
He uses Flame Style or Fire Style.
He has
he uses
3 nature people.
Yeah, Mud Style, Water Style. That's so freaking cool.
Yeah, it's honestly something you don't see a lot in the series. Even until we get like near the war, but again, Shippuden.
Yes. Now, also going to Orochimaru's standpoint, one thing that I'm kind of curious that they don't use throughout any other point of the series is his snake sword. At this point, Orochimaru in the fight is like trapped with the reanimation, or no, not the reanimation, the Reaper Death Seal. And yet, he's able to somehow pick up the sword and fling it towards himself, towards the Hokage, and basically stab him to the back.
It's seriously just, no holds barred, beat down. This whole fight is just
fight to the death.
To the limit. It's one of the only fights to the death we get in the whole Part 1 series. That's why it's number 3. Moving on to number 2, we all know, you should have saw this coming. It's Rock Lee versus Gaara.
Yes.
Let's just set the stage. This is a huge. We've already seen Rock Lee get character development, but nothing quite compares to him fighting Gaara. It's one of the most talked about anime fights in America. People love this fight. Bobby, why do you love this fight?
I like it because, well, let's see. Because, like, Gaara's considered just this one freaking creepy character that's, like...
It's terrifying.
He's so terrifying. He uses sand as just his offense and his defense.
At this point, going back to the Force of Death, we saw him kill a man by encasing their body in a sand coffin.
Yep.
That was one of the most terrifying things I've seen in the show.
Thus far. And so, for Lee, this goofy character that just doesn't give up just to fight something just so opposite to him. Yes, and throughout this fight, we see him, well, at the beginning, we see Rock Lee trying to punch Gaara as many times as he can, yet the sand keeps being the ultimate defense almost.
Yeah, and that, it's just, I don't have a lot of issues with the animation because Gaara has some weird animation quirks before this, and even after this, because they just can't seem to get him right in the show. But
early animation
is excusable.
But part of the reason why I like it is because just like when Lee takes off the weights from his legs,
which is just insane.
I just love it. It's just like
you see these huge ass just smooth, big things of dust clouds flying.
Yeah.
Everyone is shocked, and no one has seen Rock Lee do this ever. Everyone's just like, oh, that's just a little weak. It is some Dragon Ball Z level stuff.
Yes,
it is insane, and this is also what made me want to be Rock Lee at one point. I know it sounds crazy. He wants to be Rock Lee. He is like the fastest thing in the tuning exam. It is awesome. He's just moving at high speed. We're seeing probably. It's awesome. He's just making like a tornado. And Gaara, here's one of the coolest things. He doesn't care.
Yeah.
He just stands there like this the whole time.
Yeah.
Nothing faces him. And it also shows Gaara's weaknesses in this fight, and that's a huge part of this arc, is because Gaara ends up being the driving villain for a minute, besides Orochimaru, is he's the first one to hurt Gaara.
Yeah.
Ever. Everyone is stunned. His siblings are terrified of what might happen.
Yeah, but yeah, it's like, we see Rock Lee, who we think can't stand a chance, actually make headway against Gaara. And it's just stunning. It is absolutely stunning.
And the animation is amazing, the whole fight.
Mm-hmm.
We see Rock Lee, this is the first time we ever see the 8 gates used.
Oh yeah, that's right.
And it's just cool. It's a lot of speed used.
Which I would have thought the animation would have been downgraded.
As we talked about, speed in the show, we'll show a few pictures to you. Speed typically messes with this show. When we talk about the #1 fight, we'll explain that a little bit because we got quite a bit to say about it. Speed there is just it blurs the character. It makes them look funny, and it's just plain weird.
Yeah.
But this one is just cool. I mean, he's knocking Gaara back and forth, like a pinball machine.
Yeah, basically.
And Gaara's just like, I'm pissed.
Mm-hmm.
And the reason why this fight is also so good is because it is like one of the most heartbreaking things.
Oh man.
The ending of this fight, seeing a character we've actually grown to really think is just amazing. Because let me set the standard for you before we go back to it. He fights Sasuke. That's the first fight he has.
Oh yeah, Rock Lee fights Sasuke.
And Sasuke's built up to be the hot shit. He's built up to think, oh, you can't beat me out of Sharingan. He treats him like a child.
Yeah. And then we see just the heartbreak of
Gaara crushing. Using the sand coffin to crush his arm and leg is one of the most painful things you see in the tuning exams. You're just, good lord, I don't know how I can explain. Besides Hinata being heart, it's almost like hearts almost stops.
Yeah.
This is one of the other crushing moments.
It's so crazy just because, like, we know that Gaara at this point is like, he doesn't care. He wants blood.
He fights for himself. He
doesn't
give a crap about it.
But when we watch it as a kid, especially, we just didn't expect something so dark to actually happen.
It's terrifying. It shakes you. But the level of it just really sets the standard because I feel like in the tuning exams, if someone got really hurt, Naruto's gonna fight.
Oh yeah, that's true.
He fought Neji, because Neji beat the shit out of Hinata, and then he fought Gaara, even though that's not in the exams.
Yeah, that's a whole nother issue.
That's an amazing fight. It's not number one, though. I'm sorry, Gaara fans.
Yeah. But it's just an entire... Like, that is just the entirety of, like, a great fight, too.
And that's why we love it. And it's really that moments like those that makes the show so memorable, even now.
Our number one top choice, and it's also a very well known to just the general.
It honestly shouldn't surprise you. It's like not putting Goku versus Frieza at the top of Dragon Ball.
That is true. Which is Final Valley.
Naruto versus Sasuke.
And I'm not talking about like the beginning of it. We're talking.
I believe it's the whole fight.
It's a whole fight for you. Honestly, okay.
No, because they're not in their awakened forms too long.
That's true. Okay, fine. I'll let you take.
So here's my explanation on that. The fight is the most emotional part of the series. This sets the standard for Shippuden. Naruto is pissed the whole time, and Sasuke at this point he's gone. He turns around. He is half Chris marked.
Yeah.
The fighting is absolutely amazing. The choreography is on point. We finally see the Rasengan and Chidori collide. Albeit, this is why I get where Bobby's come from. The animation before they go into their transferring states is a little weird. There's some funny shots. This is one of my favorite shots. He runs up and uppercuts Sasuke, and his eyes just go white. Like he's just like, whoa.
Yeah.
But Naruto just straight up wails on him. We've seen Naruto in a lot of rage fits, and it's one of the coolest things ever. But this rage fit just tops him. He just knocks Sasuke into the air, slams him down, slams him in the water. He's willing to break every bone in his body.
To me, I'm gonna reference this. It's kind of like when the Hulk took Loki and just smashed him around.
Think of it like that. It was
just a ragdoll.
It was intense. And then Sasuke is trying to kill Naruto.
Yeah.
One of the problems I do have with this fight is they take 2 to 3 episodes to explain the Itachi thing. Right there.
Oh yeah, that's right.
That is an issue. But it doesn't take away from the impact it has, and that's why it's number 1. Sasuke is willing to kill him. There is a point where he stabs Naruto in the shoulder.
With the Chidori, yeah.
So he has a huge hole in his chest. Think of, you guys probably haven't seen this, Dragon Ball, original Dragon Ball. Goku gets blasted. It's like that level in his chest.
Mm-hmm.
It just shows the healing power Naruto is capable of.
Yeah.
It shows that Sasuke is willing to kill him. I can't explain how many intense things he does to Naruto. He drops him from a cliff.
Yep.
Using the Falcon Drop to show it. It's insane. The Falcon Drop, and he doesn't care if Naruto dies. And let's explain why the Nine-Tailed Fox plays such a huge role in this fight.
I'm gonna let you do that one, just because I feel like I can't explain it that well, honestly.
This is the first time we ever see the cloak actually be used, not just for like. This is the first time we see the cloak.
Well,
his eyes aren't just red; he literally becomes animalistic. It is
that okay. Very
one of the coolest.
Yeah, that's true. Like Naruto's iconic whiskers, right?
Yeah.
They just become like the drawing of it, just like thicker. It's just like almost like actual like foxes, like just like.
It's terrifying. And I remember seeing it, I was just like, this is Naruto anymore. He's gone. And the interesting thing is that he doesn't care. Naruto doesn't care anymore. He's willing to fight until his body gives out. His left arm goes numb by the end of this fight.
Yeah,
he can't feel his arm.
Now, also with the transformation, like Naruto's hair, like it's just drawn normally, right, for animation.
It's a little crazy. It's the classic anime hero hair.
Right.
I mean, what else can we say?
But as the fox cloak, it looks almost like fur on top of his head.
It's animalistic and it's cool, it's intense. And Sasuke's, he almost looks like a hawk.
Yeah, the curse mark transformation. Honestly, the
hand wing for the win.
Hand wing, the biggest slap or high five you will ever get.
So you get to shoot.
Yeah. So, just like that one's cool because like honestly, showing him like you would think Orochimaru, he's like the curse mark. Think you're thinking a snake, right? But when he grows those hand wings, it kind of foreshadows a few things.
Yeah.
Of, like,
without getting too far into it.
Without going too far. But it just like you realize that Sasuke's not like Orochimaru. It's more of just
he's his own being.
Yet
Yet he's willing to kill, and this is a huge turning point for Sasuke.
Yeah.
And the animation where they transform is it's amazing. Seeing them fight, not holding anything back, and one of my favorite things about this fight is Sasuke shows respect for Naruto.
Yeah.
He puts on his headband. He's like, we're gonna fight as equals.
Mm-hmm.
And the problem with Naruto in the anime is they kind of crap on their own parade when they have 2 seasons of filler right after that fight. That's when Naruto should have left. Like in the manga, hate to be a purist here, but they just ruin it by not having Naruto leave right after that. But we just are so glad that you guys enjoyed. Thank you for watching. This has been Bobby&Nick Productions with the top 10 Naruto list. We're going to try to do discussion videos all the time. Around this time, we should have a new Let's Play of Inside.
Yeah.
Which is really funny. You're just going to watch me die a lot.
Yeah, check it out, guys.
Check it out. So, thanks for watching. This has been Bobby&Nick Productions. Please subscribe. Say comments below if there's any fight you thought should have been there. Thanks for watching. Peace.